There were a lot of hair bands, let's put it that way. From the States we had Bon Jovi was up and coming at the time, Motley Crue, Skid Row, definitely bands with lots of hair. And all of a sudden there was a European band with lots of hair. And at the time I also was quite a hair man myself.
All of a sudden we had phone calls and faxes, and first from Holland actually, saying that this song is climbing the charts and there are DJs playing it like crazy.
The Nederlands Top 40, our national Dutch Top 40 at the time, I don't really remember how fast it climbed the chart, but it was within a matter of 2 or 3 weeks. It was at #1. It went really quick as far as I can recall.
And the first time I ever heard it on the radio was in Holland. We were out on tour in Europe doing promotion, and we came to Amsterdam, and I was in a cab, and all of a sudden I hear Final Countdown on the radio in Amsterdam. That was a great feeling. I had to tell the cab driver, I'm playing the bass.
I think it went to #1 in 25 different countries all over the world.
Previous to that we had quite a following in Sweden, so we toured a lot in Sweden. But now all of a sudden we were touring all over the world, and we were extremely busy, traveling all over the world all the time.
We managed to play Indonesia, Taiwan, Iceland, Taipei, places that they haven't seen much rock before, and it was great.
All the way from Stockholm, Sweden, Europe.
Does rock and roll like you play it sound unusual in Swedish?
Yeah, if you sing like the Final Countdown, it would sound like det är den sista nedräkningen. That sounds pretty weird. You know? You can't put that on vinyl, man.
Okay.
We started climbing like this, and then the Final Countdown came, and we took off like up here immediately, and so we had a lot of success for a short while, as long as the song was on the hit charts. Then when it started going down on the charts again, we didn't have like a solid fan base to fall back on.
You have to follow it up. You have to come up, and everything that you do afterwards is going to be compared to that in terms of success. And even if you think you managed to produce songs that are equally as good, they're always going to be compared to, well, this one sold this and this much, this one sold not as much.
Well, everything afterwards will be judged against that, and people in the rec companies and friends and everything will, are you going to write another one, and stuff like that. That's sometimes a little bit hard.
Oh yeah.
I think we all felt that pressure. I think especially Joey felt it, because he wrote that song. He wrote most of the songs on that Final Countdown album, and I believe he really struggled trying to follow up that success.
Day after day, pray that you stay. You gotta hold. Even though you mistreated me, you know the girl that you used to be. Even though you're still the one I care for. Yeah. Time after time, I'm wondering why am I to be all alone?
The manager we had, he was with the band from the very first record, and he was like a sixth member. And then all of a sudden we started wondering what happened to all the money.
Well, I mean, the way the contracts were written and stuff, it was very beneficial for the management, but not so beneficial for band members.
We signed contracts that we shouldn't have signed with him. We were young and naive, and I mean, you should never sign a paper without having your own lawyer look at it. But we didn't.
We didn't actually think in the terms of money at all. We didn't have any clue about the business side. We just cared about the music and, you know, get out on tour, play music, get all the chicks and go to all the parties and have a good time. That was the main thing.
We will meet again. Take care.
I think that happens to all bands. When you're young, you're just interested in playing rock and roll and having fun. The music is all you care for. And if someone comes with a pile of papers and saying, sign this and you'll get your record out. Okay, great, we'll sign. And then go back to the studio and keep playing and having fun. And that happens to all bands. I mean, it happened to Rolling Stones, The Who. Everyone's been through it, more or less.
Quite honestly, I'm surprised that we didn't hear much more from them. I do know that when I moved to the States in '87 to go work for MTV, that in Europe, of course, was well known. But at that point, in America, hair bands were already starting to move out, and by '89, it was a different, it was a whole different vibe. And I don't think they had the opportunity to break into the U.S. market again the way they did.
The grunge scene came and totally killed the music of the 80s, you know, the more polished, AOR-oriented rock music that Europe also were connected with. So the whole business side, all the record companies and everything, they just turned away from the 80s scene and went into the grunge thing.
There was something happening. It was a reaction against the big anthem rock. I mean, it was a reaction against it. The lyrics were more introvert and more depressing and the bands draw into themselves much more. Whereas in the 80s we were very outwards to the audience.
So we said that it's better to, you know, like, call it quits now and let's see what happens in the future.